Hey, what's up, everyone?
Yo, yo, yo.
All right. I'll start again. Yo, yo, yo. What is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 538. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Chris Seeley,
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero,
Yo, yo, yo.
Adam Vale,
How you doing?
Richard Bailey Jr.,
What's up, everybody?
and Brian Manjoma.
I guess the sequel will now be called Dev's Gone.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
It's a family show, bro.
You know, got to be careful with that, you know? Yeah. All right, guys, so we're back with another one. You may have noticed that we're missing some people. Brett, he may or may not show up. You know, he's still on the mend. We want Brett on the show, but we also encourage him to take care of himself, you know? Don't risk it. And then Manny, he's not here. He told us he wasn't going to be on, but he didn't tell us why. So it's whoever's guess as to what he's up to right now. You know, maybe Adam knows.
Getting a new back tattoo. He's getting a new back tattoo, a big piece.
Oh, come on.
Tramp stamp.
No, he's gonna get. It's gonna say what you call it, Metal Gear for life.
There you go.
From shoulder to shoulder. Yeah, there you go.
Yo, it's funny.
Kojima laughing.
Kojima. Yeah, typical Manny fashion, because he did the featured image for us, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, I already got a Metal Gear image for you guys tonight." I'm like, "That's not even the main story tonight, dude."
Doesn't matter.
You know how Manny is.
As much as he tries to hide it, his obsession with that is like my obsession with Gears. But I don't hide it, you know. But he's like, well, you know, I like it. You know, it's all right. Wait, hold on, breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news.
You know,
you ask him one thing, he'll goes off. You know.
He knows way too much about that.
Yeah. Listen, I love me some Metal Gear, but Manny has probably forgotten more about Metal Gear than I know about it. Like, it's like that. Like, he knows a lot. But so yeah, we're going to talk about Konami. And Adam, thank you for reminding me. I'm going to put Gears into the show notes because the beta is going on. Which is pretty cool. But yeah, let's get into it. And and I'm mostly getting into. I mean, this is obviously like kind of the biggest thing going on in gaming right now. But I really want to talk about it because Adam's reaction was fucking hilarious to me. But let's bring it back. Let's dial it back a little bit. Give people context. So a few months ago, like it was a while ago. And Adam, I'm just gonna keep it real. You've been absent from the show too much. You may have not been here for this, you know. But a while ago, reports started coming out that Xbox would be releasing its own handheld, and it was going to be in two phases.
I remember that.
Yeah, okay, two phases. The first one would be, one made in partnership with one of their OEM partners. Right at the time, I said this too, and I turned out to be correct. I was like, it's probably Asus because when Asus debuted the ROG Ally, Xbox representatives were in the room. I was there when they unveiled it. And then they said, so we're going to have that. What's up?
Quick, just a little asterisk. They have a close relationship with Asus because of the motherboards and with the operating system and making sure compatibility and stuff. So
yeah,
they're not strangers.
No, they're not strangers. Yeah. The report said we're going to get an Xbox branded console, right, handheld this year, and then we're going to get a proper one made by Microsoft in 2027, right? Then, like maybe a month after that, Asus dropped a mysterious little trailer. Hey, we got something coming, you know? Everybody's like, okay, this is it. This is the quote-unquote Xbox console. And at the time, you know, on this podcast specifically, we were like, oh, it's just an Asus ROG Ally with an Xbox skin. It's another Windows system, so weren't terribly excited. You know how we feel about Windows 11 handhelds here. So now this thing got officially announced, and I can actually say this now publicly. I told you guys off air a while ago. This system was supposed to be announced during Computex a couple of weeks ago, the show that's happening over in Taiwan, right? But Microsoft told Asus, no, you're going to show it at a Summer Game Fest during the Xbox Showcase. And I got that information directly from Asus. So I didn't hear from some guy, you know. It was like Asus told us, like, you know, we had plans and then fucking Microsoft, basically, you know? So yeah, it got announced during the Xbox showcase, the Xbox console, quote unquote console. This is an Xbox. Everybody was hyped. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw the reveal. It was fucking hilarious, right? When they showed the Xbox handheld, everybody went fucking nuts. Oh shit, this is it, this is it. And then when they flipped it around, you saw the ROG logo. People were like, womp, 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 womp. You know,
I saw that.
That was hilarious. So it's like, oh, wait, what the fuck is this? Right? But again, on this podcast, we've been saying this is just another ROG Ally. But Microsoft is marketing this shit as an Xbox, quote unquote, console. Right? So a lot of people, including Adam, thought you could play your Xbox games, even though, again, on this podcast, we're like, no, that wasn't even in consideration. We knew it wasn't going to be able to, but a lot of people didn't know that, including Adam, and I can't blame them. I can't blame them because the way Microsoft is marketing this shit, you know. So go ahead, Adam.
And I even took screenshots because when Uncle Phil is out there and talked about we made the future, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
They threw a big download behind him.
Yeah.
Right. And then they show the new interface that they created for it. And they said, play all your games, your Xbox collections go with you everywhere with the big download behind it. Yeah. So if you're just looking at that, even if you didn't even have the volume on, you're looking, you think download, Xbox interface, Xbox game library collection. Oh, that's what you're telling me. That's what you're telling me. And that's not what is happening. That's not what we're getting. Because like you just mentioned, we knew that they were working on their own, but then they halted that project and they said, yeah, we're going to go and do some other stuff. We're going to partner with Asus. Because what was their reason? Their reason they said was that they wanted to make a better UI, right?
Yeah.
For this market, for this. Okay. But then when we see this is a new UI. This isn't just at first. Well, what I was thinking was, oh, we're gonna get the Xbox button. It's gonna have an Xbox theme. It's still gonna be damn Windows 11 on it. It's gonna boot up to Windows. It's gonna look, but no, we get this whole new interface. It sort of has like a Steam OS vibe, you know, with the streamline, with the games. All the, I'm like, oh, okay. So they sort of pulled a swerve because they even said, oh, we turned off the dash, the Windows operating.
Yeah,
system.
we're gonna talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we did all this. It's going to be great. This is all pretty much custom for the Xbox. We got the button. We got this. Get your games on here. Play. I'm like, this is fantastic. They kept pushing. Remember the games anywhere.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to play this. So I'm like, this is going to be great. They had that extra button that's already there to put the loading system for the menus. They said it was going to have all the other launchers on there that they were going to work with, like Steam and Epic and all the other ones. That's great too. So I was like, oh, this is perfect because there's some games, and it's like I don't say it to troll or anything. I really do like Rockstar Table Tennis that never came to PC. The way I'm playing on my Steam Deck is I'm playing the Wii version, right? Because that's the only one that actually works on there. There is the 360 emulator. It doesn't support this game, but it's still backward compatible on the Xbox. So I'm like, and I still have it loaded. So I was like, this will be great. I could then put that on my handheld and play it native. This is great. And they kept saying that native. Unless that word changed, that to me that means
they meant native. They just meant native PC games.
Yeah. You see, that's what I'm saying. They're breaking up the sentence because that's not what you're showing all this shit, and you're saying native, and then I'm thinking Xbox native console interface. Oh, it's a game. I know how this works. I've played Wheel of Fortune. We could put this together, but no, it's all bullshit. It's bullshit because it's just the same thing. What we already have with the ROG or any other piece, handheld PC, and it's got the GUI and all that stuff. That's cool, no, but for what? You still need the internet. You still have to, if you want to get to your console, you have to do the remote. You just like the PlayStation Portable, you have to still do it on that. And it's like, well, you could play all your PC games. Well, I could already do that. And that's the one thing that I saw from a bunch of other creators and people that actually cover all the handhelds. They said it was like, if you already have one, this doesn't change that. This isn't like a big jump from
it's not.
From hardware and specs. It's a little tweak here and there, but no, it's not really changing the game, you know. And then some people are like, well, why did they do the 7-inch screen? And I was like, yeah, I mean that's another thing. You could have went 8 because already some of the newer ones, the Legion, right?
I could answer that one because the Ally already has a 7-inch screen. This is just an Ally, bro. Yeah, this is just an Ally.
That's the shit. That's when it points back to that. I was like, this is just the Ally, just with this, and then that version, fine, I'm sure that might work, but then I started thinking more about it. I was like, wait a minute. So if I'm already getting launched into my Xbox ecosystem, right? I got my Game Attack, all this stuff. And then they showed the little menus. They didn't show a lot, but they showed where you can click launchers. They didn't show you deploy those launchers. Let's say if I open up Steam, what am I really doing then? I'm probably just saying my library. I don't think it's going to show me my friends list and all my other stuff, because unless they combine them all, so then that way I can communicate with people on Epic Game Store or on that UI or on Steam and Xbox. Are they doing that? I doubt it, because then that right there, that would just overkill. That would push so much on this hardware. So I think it's just will launch you so that way you can see your purchases, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I heard they didn't show anybody that. Like, that's one thing that I saw. They were like, some people saw some things, but they were like, no, I can't do it. They didn't want anybody to know that it's still in development. So that was concerning there. But man, I was so disappointed when I found out you couldn't load any of your Xbox games on it. And yeah, some people are like, well, why would you think they would do that? I'm like, because fucking Microsoft. They can make their own DRM. They have their own DRM. And I was like, what is the issue? Just port it over, and if they try to tamper it, fucking zap it, brick it. They've done it so many times before with the 360. I got some in the closet. I know how that works. Okay, so just do it. So I was okay with that. I was like, oh, this would be great. Throw some games on it, or at least some of the exclusive console games. Because that's the thing. Not every game they have is on PC. So
yeah, I had to explain that to a colleague at work. Like, he didn't understand. It's like, he was like, oh, but it's Xbox games. Just put it on there. It's like, no, there's some games that aren't available. But the thing is, like, what you're describing would actually be a really huge deal, right? So they would, if that were the case, they would have emphasized the fuck out of that. That's why I wasn't surprised that that you can't. Again, I didn't even consider it, right? Because you can't download Xbox games to your PC, so it wasn't even in consideration for me. I'm like, but
this, I thought it'd be separate, because the way they were promoting it wasn't like you said before. When
it's the marketing. Yeah,
both showed up. Yeah, they could have both showed up. Hey, we're partnering. We're making a modified version of this. No, that's not how they said it. This is the Ally Xbox or Ally X. This is theirs. They did that whole interface, this thing breaking out. They're doing the slow mo and showing all this stuff. They were really hyping it like this is ours. This is part of our family. This is a connection. This is an extension of your Xbox experience. And it's not. It's just, a tactile. It's just a skin, with a little application that'll let you do the remote, which you could already do on all your other handheld PCs.
Yeah. Oh, Brett showed up. That's good.
Hey.
So, what's going on, man?
Hear me? All right?
Yeah, we hear you.
Or is this pretty bad sound quality?
No, it's better than you had before, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, cool.
Yeah. We're just talking about the Xbox handheld and how people are very mad about it because you can't play Xbox games on it, console Xbox games on it. But yeah,
wait.
What's up?
You see?
I just said what?
Yeah, I see, Brett. You really out of our loops. I understand why you don't know. So basically, quick. I already explained it at the top of the show, but I'll just quickly explain it again. Basically, Xbox teamed up with Asus to release basically an ROG Ally that's like Xbox branded, and people are mad that it can't play Xbox console games. And this is what I was going to tell Adam. When I first heard people complain, I was like, you people are fucking stupid. You haven't been paying attention. But then I saw how Microsoft was marketing it. I'm like, oh, I understand why you think it plays Xbox console games, because they're making it sound like it can when it can't. This is just a Windows handheld, and Windows can't play Xbox console games,
Okay, so why does it have the Xbox logo on it?
Because it has a new, like Adam explained this. It has a new like Xbox like interface.
It's just got a dedicated storefront button, a dedicated Game Pass button. So like, congratulations! All you fucking did was put a button that links to your store, and then act like you reinvented the fucking wheel. Yeah, I'm mad about that. What the fuck?
Yeah. Basically, to answer your question, Adam, and I said that, because somebody in the office asked me, like, what do I think about this? And I kind of hesitate. I'm like, because I wanted to say what my initial thought, but I'm like, wait, that can't be right. And then I thought about it more, and I'm like, okay, I'll give you my initial thought. This thing's absolutely worthless. You don't need it. If you own an ROG Ally right now, the fuck you need this for? What? Because it has different handles? Because an Xbox button? Nah, son.
Nope.
And here's the thing, this thing will have like two different, like the newer Z2 chips. But there are going to be other handhelds like the Lenovo Legion Go 2 that are also going to have the Z2 Extreme chip. So, and that's going to add up, and that's going to be big 8.8 inch screen, detachable. But it's like why get that instead? And here's the other thing. Yeah. Microsoft also said the UI that they're using here, because it's going to be a more like smaller version, for lack of a better term, of Windows 11, and it's going to have this UI that's going to be coming to other systems. So to me, this thing right here is just a test bed. Let's see how this UI works. Let's see how this minimal version of Windows 11 works for handhelds, and then we're going to roll it out to everything else. So I'm like, so you're making people buy basically like a prototype, basically, for something better. And we don't even know the price for this. On the Sunday show, we kind of, Brett, you were here for that. We took bets on how much this thing would cost. It's going to be a pretty penny. I guarantee you that. So no, I understand why people are mad, because on the one hand, you can't play your console games. On the two, if you own an Ally or any other Windows 11 system, you don't need this thing. You really don't.
Well, I guess the part that really makes me mad is it's all running off at x86 architecture. I get if they're like, we don't want to run the bloat of two operating systems, but if they're kind of like minimizing Windows 11, like this would be a great chance to build a bridge for a lighter version of Windows 11 that can work on handhelds. And I guess I kind of get that.
Yeah.
But there's no reason that it shouldn't be able to run Xbox architecture gaming, like. And that's important, because like some stuff only comes out on like all of their Game Pass shit, like that has an asterisk behind it. Day one Game Pass asterisk for consoles, right? Like the Game Pass for PC kind of sorely lacking.
Yes, it's a different kind of Game Pass. I'm really glad you brought that up.
So like, having this there with the Xbox button makes it be like, okay, cool. So I can play all my Game Pass games plus my whole Steam library. That's a heck of a value, but that's not what they're offering.
No.
What they're offering you is basically a Steam Deck that links to their store instead of Steam, which kind of, I talked on Sunday's show about how I think Microsoft is kind of trying to challenge Steam and go that route.
Yeah.
But I didn't think they were going to be trying to do it so ham-fistedly. Like that's just a blatant like, hey, we just, we put a button on here so you buy stuff from us and not, instead of Steam. And it's like a Steam Deck, but instead of, where the Steam button is, it has an Xbox button. And we get 30% commission off that. Like, okay, go fuck yourself. How about that? Like, why? I don't even know why the ROG Ally, like, partnered with Microsoft unless Microsoft just threw money at them for this. It's kind of a stupid idea.
Well, remember when they've had a relationship for a while, and when the original ROG Ally was, when they debuted it, Xbox executives were there, so they've had a partnership for a while, so it kind of makes sense. Like I originally said, when these reports originally started coming out, that Xbox, at the time, like, we're going to partner with an OEM, like, oh, it's got to be Asus. What else would it be? And sure enough, it was.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. It's just, it's not so much, I'm not mad about the tech, I guess. I'm more mad about like the missed opportunity, because I want something that can run my, Xbox Game Pass plus my Steam library, because honestly those two things have been the biggest value in gaming, and as gaming gets more and more expensive, that's honestly the best way I've found to do stuff. Now that's just me. I don't like I almost said I don't got a problem with Sony, but I think we all know that statement isn't 100% true. I still have my PlayStation. I still would play my PlayStation, but honestly, there's hasn't been a lot of exclusives. So it's just, I can have my PlayStation, it can sit there and it can do its thing, but my active ecosystem lately has been laptop, Steam Deck, Xbox. And since I can stream from my laptop to my Steam Deck, and then hook my AR glasses into my Steam Deck and just have a floating 200-inch screen wherever I fucking go, like that shit is the jam, right? And I want that to also be able to play all of my Game Pass games, because then I'd just be able to, pick up games on Steam or on Steam when they're free. Bargain shop, I'd be able to play games on Game Pass and try them out without having to just leap into an $80 price tag site on Steam. Like Outer Worlds, $80. There's no fucking way I'm going to spend $80 on Outer Worlds. I might try it on Game Pass, right? And if I really fucking loved it, sure, I might spend some money on it. But then even then, I'll probably get a discount. I wouldn't end up spending $80. And I think this is the way that they want it, and I don't fucking love it because it's the same way fast food companies have gone, right? Like, congratulations, your McDonald's order is $30 unless you buy through the McDonald's app, where we give you a discount code. But it is what it is, right? Like, I got to follow the deals, and so I think for me the thing that sucks about this is you had such like this is a Wii U situation. Like, if this had just been the thing that people thought it was, you would have hit it out of the fucking park. And the only reason it wasn't that thing was because you decided arbitrarily not to make it that fucking thing. You could have made the Xbox. You could run console games off of that spec hardware, I'm pretty sure. I'd have to dig into it. Maybe there's a good reason for it, but like, it's just a huge failed opportunity, and everybody thought it was this thing, and then it wasn't.
I don't think
it's just.
I don't think it's a matter of hardware though, Brett. Because remember, you can't play console games on PC, which are obviously way more powerful. So I think it's something else.
Console's jailbroken.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can't. Your Xbox games that you have for your console, you can't play them on Game Pass for PC. You know that, right?
Why you can't? Yeah. You know why you can't?
Why?
Because they put their own DRM on it to make sure you can't. But they know that it can't.
So that's on them then.
Because they create. That's what I'm saying. So that's why we all thought if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be from the horse's mouth. It's going to be Microsoft that does this. It was if it was just Asus saying, "Hey, we partnered up and we can figure something out." I'm like, I don't think that's going to work. But this is Microsoft saying, "Hey, look, we got this handheld. Look what we're doing. We got this own custom interface," which was telling me that once these are downloaded, the only way you can play it is by using that interface. That's like the key. That is the gateway to play your console games, which has its own proprietary DRM on it on here. And when they were like, "Oh yeah, Windows is taking a back seat here. We're turning all that stuff off. This is a streamlined experience, and this is focused on here." I'm like, so you're really controlling the narrative on this. That's why it made it seem like this was legit.
Yeah, but
I would have been fine. And I think a lot of people would have been fine with what Adam says. Like, yeah, of course you're going to have to go through a specific Game Pass portal to play your Game Pass console games, right? Like, it's not going to be all broken wide open, right? Like, It's probably going to be sectioned off, but just being able to play all that stuff on one device, right? Like, if you buy it on Xbox, of course you're not going to own it on Steam, but having access to both libraries on one device was the whole thing that got people excited. And I think they're going to quickly learn. I think they are quickly learning, like, oh man, like when you set up expectations and then fail to deliver them, people get upset.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, and it gets worse. Again, remember how I said the plan was release an Xbox branded Asus ROG Ally in 2025, then release the proper Xbox console that you guys want. They said that was coming 2027. Well, now reports are saying that's not going to happen. And the reason it's not going to happen is because Microsoft wants to just focus on making a Windows 11 interface or whatever, or Xbox interface for handhelds. So it seems like they're going, okay, forget the hardware stuff. Let's just focus on the software end of it, which I think is fine. But you got to give the motherfuckers the console games too,
No, that's a poor decision, and I get why they're doing it, right? They don't want to take the risk of the hardware development on. But if you look at Steam, you didn't see all of these handhelds coming out until Steam came out with a Steam Deck and kind of proved the viability, right? You can't just sit back and let other people take the risk, right? You can't toe dip and then let other people try and push the boundaries for you. It doesn't work like that. You need to lead with it. The reason the Steam box didn't work is because Steam never made an official Steam box. If it did, that shit would be all over the place. I still see micro PCs with 5080s in them, right? That are It's like a $1,200 mini PC. It looks like it's the size of a graphics card just by itself. Like it doesn't even look like it has a fucking motherboard. But it'll run a 5080 and take up next to no space. It's basically a Steam box. But they don't have that branded blueprint to go after, and so it just didn't the form factor just didn't catch on. So like I think that Microsoft, if they want to be ubiquitous in the online video game retail market space, then they need to come out with their own hardware and prove to people that there is a market there by putting their own neck out, right? Because just being like, hey, why don't you just put our platform on everybody else's thing is kind of a thing that it's already fucking happening. It's called PC Game Pass, and it's not very. It's like the redheaded stepchild of Game Pass. It's not great.
Oh man, but yeah, that's what allegedly. Who knows, right? But that's allegedly where Microsoft is coming at it from. My thing is like, I think it's. I don't want it to just be an environment where it's only Steam OS, even though I do think it's a superior. I do want there to be another option, but we can't have Windows 11 in its present form on handhelds. So if Microsoft wants to work on a Windows 11 version that is for handhelds, I think that's a good thing. And apparently, the report says that they're going to give this to everybody. Like, you're making a Windows 11 handheld, here you go. You could use this UI. You know.
Honestly, I feel like what Microsoft should do is they should make it and have two partitioned, have like a separate partitioned SD drive, strictly for your Game Pass stuff, right? Like if they wanted to even just do a hard partition, like make a separate drive and like it just flips over from one operating system to the other on like a toggle switch or something like that. Like you could make it as analog as that, right? I'd still be fucking happy switching the little switch bot at the top from Game Pass mode back to Windows 11 light mode. And I'm in full support of a light mode because like Windows, cut your fucking bloat out, man. Yeah. Like get your shit together. Right? It's you're gonna lose to Linux. Linux. Like
oh man, what's up, Carlos? What are you gonna say?
To Brett's point, today, a double cheeseburger is worth over $5 in McDonald's, which is fucking nuts. Yeah, here's the thing, and this is probably because we're more into the weeds, and Tony's definitely even more into the weeds. We knew what this was gonna be.
Yeah, we knew.
This is weeds, man. This was always gonna be their toe dip. Shout out to Manny. This because we knew they were partnering with Asus. And then even after it came out, or not came out, after it was announced, it was the ROG Xbox Ally. There's no way in hell that Microsoft and Xbox is going to release their next quote-unquote console and have ROG Ally on it. It just doesn't make sense. And I find it interesting. I will say, I find it interesting that the Xbox guys on the panel are the ones that are most disappointed, which is which is a turn of events. It's a green heel turn.
Wait, is it though? Like, I think Adam and Brett are justified. They want to play their Xbox console games on the go. I don't think that's
yeah.
Well,
no, I'm just saying it's because usually it's us that are complaining about Xbox, and it's always good to have more people join the.
Yeah. Or we should say this is how we're not just a bunch of shills around here. When we have the two biggest Xbox guys getting mad at Xbox. That's a good point.
Here's the thing. Neither Adam or I moved our positions.
Yeah.
Microsoft did.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
it's
not
man.
Me, it's you.
But yeah, I go ahead, bro. Go ahead, because I already said my piece. I honestly think this thing's kind of a waste of time. But I am excited about the lighter version of Windows 11. That I'm excited about, and the Z2 Go Extreme chip. I want to see what the kind of performance is. But I don't need this machine for that, And apparently, I'm not going to need it even for the UI either because that's coming to everything, Again, Microsoft, that's official. Microsoft said we want this UI that's going to be on this ROG Ally available for other Windows 11 handhelds starting next year. That's official. So
I have a question.
Why is it
to say Windows 11 Home? I mean, is that the lighter version of Windows 11 they're offering? Because that's not really.
No, no, no. It's going to be one
No.
tailored for handhelds. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Without all the bloat of the real regular version. Yeah, this is something entirely different. It's not Home or Pro.
Yeah, you know what that was called? Windows 10.
Yeah. Oh, rest in peace, man. Come October, it's over. You know.
And the whole thing with the partnership, it just always felt like a toe dip to me, and I don't know. I'm actually the only one. I think am I the only one that feels like this is kind of decent? For obviously, if you already have an ROG Ally,
Yeah, in a bubble, yes. In a bubble, if there no other Windows 11 handhelds existed, yes. But the ROG Ally exists. That's the problem, bro.
Yeah. And also, like Tony pointed out, the Lenovo Legion Go performs better with Steam OS and is cheaper.
Yep, that is also true.
yeah. So it will be interesting if they decide to take a cut from the Windows price, which it will be seen later on. The whole thing with this one though is I do like a couple of things. I like the controller aspect. Remember, I was the one that said the PlayStation Portal. I wish the PlayStation Portal had Steam Deck on it, like just the software and maybe like the internals of it, because everything else, the form factor, the screen, everything is great. And looks like they're doing this with this console. I haven't seen the Legion Go that you were talking about with the
Legion. Yeah, no, that's the regular Legion Go, but the Legion Go 2 is coming later this year. But the current existing one does have detachable controllers. That's been out for like 2 years now.
Yeah, so I don't know how that's going to compare, but I like the way the form factor looks for the new Ally, the Xbox Ally. Hey, the interface does look pretty decent. Hopefully the performance gets vastly improved, because yes, Windows 11 is a limiting factor. It's a bottleneck for handheld gaming, and I'm glad that they're actually trying to steer away from that. And there was something else. I don't remember. Oh, the unification of all the launchers, because Steam Deck is great, but I can't play my Game Pass games unless I finagle with it. And the other ones have Windows 11, and that is trash.
Yeah.
So at least this is sort of like a kind of a medium between both of those worlds. We'll see how that works, but at least it's something that I'm slightly optimistic about. Not saying it's going to work, but no one else is trying it. With the Legion, was it Lenovo? One of those that are going to Steam Deck. It's great, but I already have a Steam Deck, so it's only a spec bump.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of mostly with you. I'm just saying I understand why people are mad. Seems like cool tech to me.
Yeah,
but I understand why people are mad. I'm not going to begrudge them that. Anything else you guys want to say before we move on to the next topic?
I actually do have some thoughts, and this is going to get very interesting. Very fast.
Controversial even, Brian?
Yes. Is Rich here? Okay. We might actually get a Rich quote from here. I actually think that both ideas are really bad. Because, yeah, exactly. Firstly, the Windows handheld side of things. One, Windows handheld, so that's never going to work. And two, the Steam Deck exists. So that's a bad idea. And like a native handheld, a handheld that plays native Xbox games, it'll have to be as powerful as the Xbox Series X. Because if it's as powerful as the S, then it's going to be the S games.
Ooh.
And that's a problem, because they are the S games. So I don't know how you can get that. I don't know how you can get the power of the X onto a handheld to get good running games, because I don't think it can be anything in between unless that is supported somehow. But yeah, that's my thoughts. it's just bad either way unless they can get the power of the X into a handheld, which again I just don't know how thermals would act.
It's a good, yeah, no, it's a good point. Uh-oh. Guess we'll have to see when this thing drops, and then obviously we'll have to see what that price is. Carlos and I are predicting between $5.99 and $8.99. So we'll see, for the low end one and the high end one, because there's 2 models coming out.
What about the power of the S, Brian?
Yeah, but then you'll be playing the S games on it. And do you really want to spend $500 to play 30 frames per second on a handheld?
I mean, it's better. I could see that as justifying the S platform more, at least. Because I mean, as it stands, it's pointless and bullshit.
You know me. I was always one that could see the idea of the S, but it's just do you really want to spend that much money to play the S? To play S games on a handheld?
Yeah,
I don't know. Because again,
that's rough.
This thing will not be the same price as the S. It'll be more expensive because it has to be. Because again, it has to deal with screen, it has to deal with batteries. So it will be more expensive than the S, whatever the S price is. It may be even more. Yeah, but then the Steam Deck, you have Linux on it. You have more. Whereas if it's going to be a dedicated... Yeah, I'm talking about a dedicated handheld that plays only native Xbox games. And that thing will have to be as powerful as the S, if not more. Will cost more than the S. Maybe even in the realm of the X. So you have to pay almost X prices to play. You have to pay X prices to get S level performance, and I think that's just stupid. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I didn't consider that. Yeah. I guess we'll have to see. They said it's coming out this year, but we don't know when. So stay tuned for sure. All right, let's move on here. This one's going to be fun. So, Rich, I'm going to give the floor over to you for the next while because you went to Summer Game Fest. You played a lot of games. So, I want to hear about not only your experience there, but some of the games that you could talk about now that certain embargoes have lifted. So the show is yours. This is now the Rich Throwdown.
Uh-oh. Well, this is going to be quite interesting. Okay, first and foremost, let me say this about Summer Game Fest. Overall, it was a fantastic event. One thing that I do want to say, and I think, Tony, you will understand this, as well as maybe Chris to an extent, because he did go to E3. One thing I do want to say is, as somebody who basically is covering games, whether writing about it or talking about it on a podcast, I think obviously when you do this, you spend a lot of time on your computer or whatever. You obviously love to cover the games and you love the fact that you're able to play so many games. But what you miss from that element is the actual PR people, the people who you see always email you codes. You're very happy and thankful to receive those codes. But I mean, when you actually get a chance to see some of these people in person and how much they appreciate and admire your work, I think that's a very good feeling. Not only that, but just seeing how cool they are in person, having conversations. So I would say, obviously, that, as well as anytime I see you guys, if it's Tony, Gary, anyone from the coalition, if I see them at these events, it's an awesome feeling. You feel a sense of community, closeness, and good times. And by the way, for those of you who do not know, there was some ice raids happening in LA, not far from this event. So there was a hell of a lot going on in Los Angeles. That was the hot spot, not just because of Summer Game Fest. But one thing I loved is that when I went to Summer Game Fest, everybody was chill. It was like there was nothing going on outside. We were all locked in, enjoying everything we were seeing, everything we were playing. And I love that. That's a perfect distraction from all the other stuff that's going on. So I was appreciative of that. So I just want to make a comment about that because yeah, I'm going to get into what I played and stuff like that. But I do want to say, yes, the experience of going to these events, this to me is the reason why when I started contributing and writing articles, it was so that I would eventually be able to go to events like these. And I will say this to anybody that is writing content, they're making content, but they aren't going to these events. You are missing out because of the networking, the relationships, all this other stuff. This is something that you should take advantage of at some point, if you want to. But yeah, I wanted to start by saying that. Now let's get into
Rich, because since you already brought up, I have to kind of piggyback off of that. Because I 100% agree with you. Because obviously, like when I started, I was just at home writing about stuff that I saw and talking with PR people and all that good jazz. I didn't feel like I was an actual in the gaming industry until I went to my first event. That's when the world opened up. Like, oh shit, this person that I've been talking to on Twitter or this PR person I've been emailing with, they're real people. So yeah, it's a great feeling, and I'm glad that even though E3 is dead, this exists because even though it is harder to break into the industry now than it ever has been, those kind of shows can make you, So, if you're aspiring to get into the gaming industry, I would absolutely say get to whatever convention you're able to, whether it be Summer Game Fest or the PAX East or anything local. It's when you meet people that you only talk to on the internet, man, it's a different feeling, man. So I'm really glad you brought that up, but I just want to chime in just to pretty much just agree with everything you just said. Anyway, continue. Yeah.
And I agree 1,000% with everything you said as well, good sir. So take that advice for those that are listening. So let's talk about Summer Game Fest, shall we? I'm going to give a quick rundown of what happened during the days that I was there, some games that I played on certain days, just to give you guys context. So I did arrive there Thursday evening, and then Friday I went to that one of the most award-winning Summer Game Fest live stream shows at the YouTube Theater. I heard that everybody in here loved that particular show, all the amazing games they showed, especially the Deadpool VR game, which I will say right now, the audience was very disappointed in that. That was this year's Batman VR game, where they heard the name Batman, then when they saw it was a VR game, that you could hear all the air leave the room. Nobody wanted to say anything. But with that said, Resident Evil was there. We obviously got trolled by Jeff Keighley and company, and the room had the exact same reaction that you guys had when I was there. Everybody, when you had the director come on the screen and say, well, yeah, I want to talk about this game at a later time. We need more time. Everybody in that room was very annoyed about that. And then when they showed it later in the presentation, nothing but excitement, cheers. So that was very well done, but don't do that again. And I will get into that later, because when I went to the actual Capcom appointment, I spoke to the PR about this, and they were talking about, they were watching the Summer Game Fest stream, and they watched when the guy said, oh yeah, we don't have anything to talk about right now. We'll talk about it later. They also thought it was hilarious because they already were setting up the show for the presentation of Resident Evil. So that's kind of ridiculous, but very entertaining, very entertaining. So after that event, I did go to the Future of IO Interactive event. That featured some updates on Hitman. It featured the 007 First Light James Bond game. And of course, the infamous game that we will be talking about later, ladies and gentlemen, MindsEye. And I do have some stuff to say about that. Yeah, I do have some controversial things to say about that. I will save that for later on. But overall, it was a very good event. They did have an opportunity for those who were there to try out Hitman on the Switch 2. I couldn't do that, though, because I had other things going on, because there also was an event called The Mix. If you guys have never been to a Mix event, which is just like an indie game showcase, that is by far one of the best events to go to. It doesn't cost anything. You just walk into the event and you're playing a whole bunch of indie games. You get to talk with the people working on the games. They actually had They had it at the same place that Microsoft had one of their previous Xbox showcases at. It's that same building. I think it's the Grammy, where they have the Grammy stuff at.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was a pretty good event to go to. So all of this happened on Friday. Summer Game Fest for me did not start until Saturday because it's a 3-day event. So let's jump over to Saturday. First game I played on Saturday. I want to say this is one of Carlos's most anticipated games. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers.
Oh shit.
Great game. I have a preview right now on thecoalition.com. Yeah, great Souls-like game. And unlike the last time I played this at GDC, I actually got pretty far in the demo. Obviously, I didn't finish it because we had a certain time limit to play the game. But I did not die as many times as I did, because when I played it at GDC, it was just a straight-up boss battle. I got absolutely destroyed that entire time I was playing it. This time, no. And I do appreciate that the demo this time was more focused on learning more about the character, the storyline, because none of that stuff was in the previous demo. So I do want to give a shout out to 505 Games. I actually did record they did interview me about the game. You're going to probably see that video at some point.
Oh,
I don't
nice.
know when, but it is going to. They did want my thoughts on it after I played it. So that video is going to be going out at some point. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, look out for that. That's coming in July. After that, I went on ahead and I played a couple other games we're going to rattle off here. I did play Warhammer 40K Dark Tide because it's finally coming to consoles. They had some other things they're working on with some updates, another class. That was pretty good. Looking forward to that. That's coming later this summer. I did play FBC Firebreak, which is Remedy's multiplayer game. I can say that I am going to be reviewing that game, so stay tuned for that review. But yeah, I enjoyed that game. A lot of fun. Your standard multiplayer, 3-player co-op game where you're basically, they take all their, basically it's in the world of Control. You're playing as these characters that are basically fighting all of these, the Hiss and all those type of characters inside the house. The oldest house, I believe they called it.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very fun game. Very interesting experience. But it is a game that does require playing with three people. It was designed that way. So if you try to play it solo, I don't know how good it is. We're going to find out. So stay tuned for some more of my thoughts. Although I do have a preview right now on thecoalition.com. I also met with Razer. Okay.
Ooh.
Saw a couple of their upcoming laptops, different models. And I am going to be doing some stuff with Razer. So you want to stay tuned for that. Because, we are trying to cover. There you go. That's right. We are going to try to cover more of some of these products when we get the opportunity. I did meet a contact there, so stay tuned for that. The last couple of games I played this day, I did play the Marvel Cosmic Invasion game.
Oh, nice.
And that is literally all I can say right now because there's some stuff that's under embargo. But I will be able to talk about that next week because, by the next time we do the show, I will be able to talk about it because I'll have something up related to that. But yeah, very interesting. I played Directive 8020. Once again, that preview is currently on the website. That is the Dark Pictures game that's coming out later this year. Once again, a very short demo. Pretty much they have this thing now where if you make a decision, because this is all about making life and death decisions, you can basically go back and see the outcome of every decision that you make in the same playthrough, which I think is pretty interesting. Now, it will not be popular for everybody because a lot of people prefer to play the game in its entirety than replay it again, but they wanted to give people an option. This is why they introduced this into this particular game. And they're going to see how well it does. But yeah, that game is coming out October 2nd. Stay tuned for that if you are a survival horror fan. But very interesting game. It looks great. Unreal Engine 5. Yeah, it looks great, and everything's coming together with that. The final game that I checked out on this day is a game that hopefully my very good colleague, Mr. Adam Vale, has been playing, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4.
Nice.
There's new devs on it, and it's a lot faster. That's one thing.
Gotta have something.
Yeah, that's what it has. It has the speed. I don't know if that's a good thing though. Only because there was certain parts. Yeah, I enjoyed it. They put Run the Jewels. I'm a big Run the Jewels fan, and I was excited to play it. And then I'm playing. I'm like, wow, this is fast. Maybe it was just the Foundry, the map. And then I went to the next map, very fast also, and it brought back memories of the HD series that they brought over to PC. Remember that? There was Tony Hawk HD. And I had other issues. It was very floaty. It didn't feel right, but it was fast. This just feels fast, real fast. And you're a little more zoomed in, a little closer to the back of the skater. It's just cool, a different dynamic. But no, overall, it's fun. It's Tony Hawk 3 and 4. It makes you want the open world versions that they had later on. Remember Wasteland and Proving Grounds and stuff. So hopefully that opens up the door for that. But no, it's good. Yeah, I'll hopefully have like a preview or something going on for that. I took a bunch of cool screenshots. So
awesome. And I did. So I just to give a bit of a context, I did know this game was going to be talked about at the Microsoft Showcase because there was a very crazy embargo for the next morning.
Oh man!
Depending on what we could say. So I won't be writing anything about that. Obviously, if Adam does write something because he's played the demo, that's awesome. But I'm just giving people a heads up.
But we got time. We got time before that comes out. That's like sometime in July, right? It was like July something. Middle.
Oh yeah.
Doomslayer's in it, and that's the funny thing when you boot up the demo. I got excited because it's like you got Tony Hawk, okay, we got some other skater, and then you see Doomslayer. I'm like, oh, play. I click on it, and it instantly took me to the store. I was like, you got to buy the game if you want to play as Doomslayer in this demo. I was like,
that's fun.
Womp womp. Yeah, but he's in it. He's in it, and I think they also showed Michelangelo, right?
Yeah, I got to play as Michelangelo.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It looks pretty cool. A lot of people they tried to spend extra time playing. They had to tell them, hey, you guys, your time is up. So I did laugh when I saw that, but you look forward to seeing what happens next.
My thing though, what I'm thinking is that. And I have a feeling they're going to do this. It's going to happen. Yeah, we have 1 and 2. We have 3 and 4. But once this has run its course, maybe another year from now, we're going to get the ultimate collection.
Yeah.
It's going to have 1, 2. It's going to have its own interface. Maybe they throw in another Tony Hawk in there because there was some other ones that they could, if they want to bring in. And then we'll have like a total collection. But hey, this is a great surprise, especially when the team that originally worked on it got dumped off to do Call of Duty. Remember, that was when Activision was still separate, and we found out that they were going to work on 3 and 4, and then they got pulled from it. But thankfully, Microsoft was like anybody else, and they have new studios. There's 2 new studios. Can't remember them offhand, but I saw the splash screens, and I recognize them from other projects. And I was like, okay, so that's what they did. They're like, hey, we got the code. Can you guys? Who wants to work on? Oh, you want? Okay, here we go. Do something with this. And it's good. So that's it. That's what it tells me. I mean, the original studio that was on it's on. Oh, Iron Galaxy. Iron Galaxy is the one that's porting.
Oh yeah, Iron Galaxy. Mm-hmm.
And we know them from all the ports that they do with Sony. For a lot of those games, if I remember right, they did the Uncharted, the Legacy. So.
Yeah. Continue, Rich.
That's it. So jumping to Sunday, obviously, I did hang out with you guys a little bit when we were talking about the Xbox Showcase. That was a fun time. Right after that, I'm going to say this right now, no controversy. I went to the best appointment that I had of the entire Summer Game Fest. It's this company called Capcom. Capcom. I'm telling you this right now.
Never heard of them.
Yeah. I know.
They're new, Tony. They're new.
Yeah, new, brand new.
Yeah. Some indie company we've never heard of. That you're correct. So let me just say this. We already know how impressive Capcom has been. All the great stuff they've been doing as of late. So obviously, when I got the email that they were going to be at Summer Game Fest and one of the games was unannounced, I already was saying to myself, this has to be Resident Evil. So obviously, when Resident Evil did get revealed, I was very excited, and I know that our very good friend Mr. Chris Seeley was also excited. So we did share that in common. So the Capcom appointment first thing I saw was Omnimusha Way of the Sword. I don't know if we are allowed to. Now, I don't know if we are allowed to swear on here. You let me know, Tony.
Yeah, you know what? I think for this one occasion, I'll allow it.
Okay, I want to say that Omnimusha game, that is fucking fire. It's absolutely fire. I have to say that because obviously I did play Omnimusha 2 because I believe that myself and Tony, we did get access to the second game, the remaster. And they really want people to play that game to get familiar if they didn't play the other games. But this game here, first and foremost, it looks phenomenal. Again, this is the RE engine, right? So you already saw, if you saw when they showed the gameplay before in the cinematics, the game looks incredible. All right, that's number one. Number two, when you're getting to these fights, obviously you're using the sword weapon. You can use that sword weapon to obviously parry, but also deflect. Because in the demo, they had a sequence where people were shooting arrows at me. Well, they were shooting arrows at the character, and you were able to deflect that, and then it hits back at them, but also the environmental stuff as well. So if it's near like an area that has some fire, the arrow passes through the fire, the enemy can also get set on fire. It's a lot of stuff they're doing in the game. Obviously, there's some story elements that they showed us as well. And again, this was a hands-off demo. Now, this game and Resident Evil, they're both going to be playable at Gamescom. So if anybody is going to Gamescom, you definitely need to make some time to check these games out. But no, Omnimusha was great. They had a boss battle in there that they showed, both a human boss and one of the creatures that you had to fight in the game. And again, the combat just looks very slick, reminds me of Ghost of Tsushima. And I'm very, very aware that Ghost of Yotei is coming out later this year. We haven't seen much of that game. But when I saw Omnimusha, I said, I don't care about Ghost of Yotei. Just bring this game out, right? Because this game looks phenomenal, and that's it. So it is coming out next year. Release date to be determined. But that was great. So once again, after I saw that, immediately after that, we got the Resident Evil presentation. Once again, Resident Evil Requiem, phenomenal game. You can play in first person and third person, and you can switch between them for the entirety of the game, which I think is great because a lot of people probably was curious if it was going to be one or the other going into that, and now you got the confirmation it is that. They did say that Grace is the main character in the game. Now, that could be a fake out because I've seen people speculating that, Leon could be in the game. There definitely is some other people in the game, but what they showed us in the demo, it was very short, showing us Grace walking through the hotel, and you see the level of detail with the settings, the items, the same items you would normally, like anytime you play a Resident Evil game where you're interacting with different stuff, you have to get keys, unlock doors, get a fuse for a fuse box. They show those type of things, but they're very detailed, more detailed than I've seen them in the past games. And then, of course, the enemy encounter. And I will say this, that creature that is in that trailer, you do encounter that creature in that demo. What I found very interesting is they were playing from first person view, but when you face that creature and it grabs you, it goes to third person and it shows you the creature biting into you, which I thought was that's a pretty cool visual. But you take a lot of damage when that happens. That's dope. Yeah, but what I like about the presentation is for the entire presentation, they showed everything in first person view, and then at the very end, the mic drop moment, they go back to gameplay, they go to options, and they show you, oh, yes, you can play this in third person. That entire room, they was very excited when they saw that. Their reaction from that was a standout moment. So there is going to be more information coming. Obviously, you all know it's coming out in February. I have a preview for this on the website right now, so check that out if you're interested. And lastly, for Capcom, I did play Pragmata, and this game is a game that we all thought was was canceled, so to speak. No, this game is also coming in 2026. So by my count, Capcom has 3 games coming next year. That now, obviously, this was a hands-on as well, so I would assume they're all going to hit in 2026 with no delays. We'll see what happens. But the Pragmata game is very simple, very basic. The girl's name is I believe it's Diana, and the I guess you want to say the astronaut. Well, not really an astronaut. I don't really know how you would characterize that character, but the main antagonist is this guy Hugh. That entire demo was basically showing you, like, from the start, because the girl is actually an android, and you have to work together. She uses her ability to hack enemies and remove their shields, and then you're able to use your weapons against them. So that's like an ongoing gameplay mechanic where you have to press the button prompts to. It's similar to, like, if you played games where there's some type of wire hacking. I mean, there was hacking in Cyberpunk. It's similar in those regards. We have to press certain buttons, but the gameplay loop to me it is satisfying. I don't really know. I mean, to me, it was satisfying. I don't know if everybody's going to like that, but the other thing about it is, again, there is a story that's being told, and the way the demo ends, you're trying to reach. You're in this facility. You're trying to get to the top of the building. At the end of the demo, once you get to the top of the building, there's a boss they introduce, and then, of course, as expected, that's when they end the demo. So you don't know what happens next. But I was very impressed with that. I did enjoy that game. Like I said, Capcom, best appointment I had at Summer Game Fest, hands down. A lot of stuff they got. So I look forward to checking out more on all of those. So as I wrap up some of the other stuff that happened on Sunday, the Sega appointment, I saw Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, a pretty good game. I also saw Demon Slayer 2, another Sega game, also a good game. But that Shinobi game, that Shinobi Art of the Vengeance game, once again, if I'm talking about the best things that I saw at the show, this has to be number 2. It has to be right up there with that Capcom appointment. It has to be, because that game is fantastic. The art style, the animations, the fighting, the combat, everything about that game is on point. And obviously, I saw that game did win a couple of awards. A couple people were putting out their awards during the event. They got this was one of those games where when I went to it, I saw there were a lot of stickers for awards, for website awards. I actually may consider doing that next year. But that was awesome to see that, and to see it. It is very much deserving of it. If you are a Shinobi fan, or just in general a fan of those types of games, you definitely should check that game out. It's coming out, I believe, in August. And I know August is a very crowded month, so stay tuned for that. And of course, the last thing I saw that day was a game called Mixtape. We saw a trailer for this some time ago. It's made by the same people that made The Artful Escape. That's a game that I reviewed. This is Annapurna Interactive. This game feels like, if you've ever watched movies like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, stuff like that, it's that type of game, but it is more of like a talking about it and basically telling it to you in, I guess, third person. They're talking to you throughout the story, narrating and stuff like that. It has a lot of great music in it, a lot of things you're able to do in the game. And it's about this character that is she made a mixtape, and she's basically spending her last summer with friends before she goes off to New York to try to sell that mixtape. But yeah, cool game. Definitely something that I am curious to learn more about.
Does she make her own beats? Do you get to make beats? Is that what this is? And then you try to sell it? I mean,
well, what I saw of the game, it was a couple of there was a couple of sequences. I didn't play the entire game so I don't really know. Maybe that is a possibility.
I'm just wondering if there's like a little mini game thing, like you make the beat, so then everybody has their own experience when it comes to. Because you said the point is to sell it, right? I mean, you can't sell a mixtape unless she's a DJ and she made a mix and she's trying to sell like her style, that type of thing. I don't know. I just figured mixtape and then making beats. I don't know. That would be cool.
That's a great question. That's something that I need to find out some more details about that, because when I played in that demo, there wasn't really any emphasis on making any music, but I could see them doing that because there's a lot of other elements in the game. You're doing like little random stuff, like searching for items and stuff like that. So it's possible that could be in there. We have to wait and see. And And moving on to Monday, which is the last day of the show. I'm talking about a couple. I did play a lot of other games, but I'm talking about the stuff that was the main highlights. The first game I played that day, Dying Light: The Beast. Once again, phenomenal game. And even though Dying Light 2, I guess, is an okay game, I still think Dying Light 1 is better. This game is just as good as Dying Light 1. They have a lot more that they've done. The main character has this ability because he is a beast. The reason why it's called Dying Light: The Beast is because they were experimenting on people. And obviously, this character, he is fighting against the zombies, so on and so forth. But he has this ability where he uses like an attack, like he transforms into a beast and uses a particular attack. And what I like about this game is that there are a ton of people that they have experimented on to create creatures. So you basically have to go through this game and face every single one of these creatures that were being experimented on. Then you face, I guess, whoever the final boss is. But the entire setup for the game, fantastic. If you enjoy Dying Light, this is a game you should be checking out. Again, this game is also coming out in August. So there's a lot of stuff that's coming out very soon. But great game. In the last game that I did play, that obviously this is once again another game. I got a chance to check out Mouse PI for Hire.
Oh, nice.
This is the game that is, I guess, the animation style, the hand-drawn animation style they call Rubber Hose, where basically it's like you're playing a cartoon. And the thing is, when they showed this game initially, I was impressed. I was wondering how far they was going to take the concept. These guys, and again, I went to school for animation, so I know they spent a hell of a lot of time. Everything in the game is hand-drawn, including like when you're using the weapons, use like a shotgun as the character. All that is hand-drawn. It looks incredible. And of course, they did have, I believe Tony's favorite actor, Troy Baker. He plays the actual protagonist in this game. And I'm like, why does this guy have to be in every game? This very interesting strategy there.
Maybe they get him on a discount.
That's what it is.
It might be. But this game I thought was fantastic. I mean, it pretty much is like you're a detective. You're trying to solve a case. That particular mission they played is, I think it's about like the third level in the game. You had to go and find out what was happening to a friend because he's a suspect in a murder that happened. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that happens. But yeah, when you're fighting the enemies, and it's so funny, the same comedy you've seen in the cartoons. You fight an enemy, like you set an enemy on fire, you'll see the cartoon skeleton disappearing and stuff like that. It's the same type of style the entire time. So I'm looking forward to that game. It is coming out this year, but however, there is no particular date announced yet. They did say 2025. So it is coming this year. But stay tuned for that. But overall, those are the games that I think I've enjoyed the most from Summer Game Fest. The event itself was great in terms of all the stuff they did, because again, like I said before, when you go to this event, they have different areas designated to certain games or studios. They had food trucks, so you did not need to leave the facility to get something to eat. And in case you don't have time to get something at the food trucks, they have a media lounge as well, where they are serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner the entire day.
Oh, wow.
So if you want like a bagel, you want a bagel or muffin or whatever, some coffee, just get that and go right to your appointment. You don't need to go to the food truck, although you do need to go to that food truck if you're going to this event, because they had all types of food at that food truck. I'm talking about Mexican, Japanese, it's all types of stuff they had at their food truck. So I got to give them credit. That's good. They know how to take care of the people that are going to this event. But overall, fantastic event, great games. Looking forward to going next year, and stay tuned for my coverage, because again, I have a lot of things I'm writing. There's a lot of things that I'm working on, stuff that's under embargo that I can't talk about. But stay tuned to the website, because you're going to see a lot more previews and reviews going up in the weeks ahead.
Yo, Rich, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
when you're walking around, when you're talking to people, you're mingling, you're connecting, you're networking and all that stuff. Was there like one game that everyone was talking about, like from that was shown throughout this time?
It's a good question. Yeah, because that always happens when you go to one of those shows. There's always that one game everyone's talking about.
That is a phenomenal question, Carlos. That's the cue. It had to be. Listen, it had to be Resident Evil because again, that was the game that again everybody got trolled at the Summer Game Fest show.
That was a masterful troll, by the way.
And it's like there were people that it was very, very masterful. But that's the game because I recall I would be going up to people, they would be talking about Resident Evil, and then when they asked me, so what game did you see? I tell them about the game. But when I asked them about Resident Evil, I said, no, I don't want to hear anything because I haven't gone to the appointment yet. Don't tell me anything. They said, oh, I'm not going to tell you anything but that was the one game everybody kept talking about. That and I will say Shinobi as well. It's those two. But Resident Evil, obviously, because that is the game that people was expecting to get announced. But yeah, those I think were the most talked about games at the show. No doubt about it.
Did they show off that new Snake Eyes game?
Snake Eyes?
G.I. Joe.
No.
The new G.I. Joe. No, they didn't show that.
He's making
Remember
stuff
they
up
had
now.
that trailer that came out and it shows them playing. It looks like almost like a Splinter Cell, but you're as Snake Eyes.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't sure if they were going to show at the Summer Game Fest, just because then there was that other Korean game. Remember that one that we were sending around? They were showing all the.
Oh yeah, that one. That looked like Splinter Cell. Yeah.
Yeah, there was that one too.
Oh yeah. So
by the way, where's that buzzing coming from? You hear that? It's like.
Yeah.
I think that's you, Adam.
Oh.
I'm not doing anything.
Like, can you mute for a quick second? I want to check something. Oh, is that you? All right. I don't hear it anymore. All right. You can unmute yourself now, Adam. Let's see, because we're doing a test. All right, talk for a bit.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Did you guys hear that?
Testing 1 2.
No, we're good now. All right.
I think whatever was happening just ceased to exist.
Yeah, but you heard it before, right? It was like a little
like,
mouse or something,
And my suspicion was Adam as well. So,
Yeah.
my fingers pointed right at him.
I'm not talking, and you heard that. I'm not talking.
Oh.
We're gonna find somebody. But yeah, no, Rich, that sounds awesome. Sounds like an echo of E3, if you will. And the food situation is a lot better than E3 because I remember at E3, if you weren't there in the press room to get those sandwiches that they have, you're assed out.
Oh yeah, no. Two quick things I want to mention before we move on. Because Adam asked about the Snake Eyes game. One thing I do want to say about Summer Game Fest is they do have a limit cap on how many people are there in terms of the studios because they don't have a ton of space. That's the difference between E3 because E3 had that entire expo hall on two different sides, so they could have a whole bunch of people there. So 2K wasn't there. A lot of people who I was expecting to be there weren't there. Now, the Crimson Desert game was there. That is a game that's coming out later this year as well. So yeah, it depends on certain stuff, but they do have a cap. So, and then if some of the stuff that was announced, obviously at the Xbox showcase, none of that was there. However, I do want to say this, and this is the last point that I do want to make because I found out this information after the fact.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to give a special shout out to Microsoft because they did have an in-person event for the showcase. Now, I didn't know this because I was told they wasn't having anything. But apparently they had some type of event. And we would have to confirm with our very good friends at Gamertag about this. Yeah. But, and Tony, you're going to be surprised to hear this. Yeah. I heard that at this, they also had previews for Grounded 2, which is a game that I believe some people here are looking forward to. But they also had a preview for Invincible Versus.
Oh.
So when I heard that, when I heard that, I was like, all right, Microsoft, we need to have a conversation because I could have definitely went into that, but
Yeah, that would have been good. I definitely would have wanted to hear your thoughts on that one.
But what I can say is, I am going to PAX West. I have been told there is some stuff happening at PAX West, and I might be involved with some of that. So stay tuned for that. That's later this summer.
When is it? What month is that? Is that July or August?
That's like Labor Day weekend, like September, the first.
Oh shit.
The end of August, right into September. We do know that Microsoft is based in Seattle, and that's all I really can say. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know any information. I don't know what they're going to show. I just know if that Invincible game is there, I will be playing that, and I will talk about that if it is there. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, you'll definitely give us the inside scoop if you find out that Battle Beast is in it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, man. Good stuff. All right. Rich, thanks for that. That was great. Sounds like you had a blast, and lots of good games are coming our way, especially Resident Evil, man. Ooh, can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait. All right, man. Let's keep it going here. Got a few more stories before we wrap up. Let's talk about the Nintendo Switch 2. So, obviously, very difficult console to buy, but that hasn't stopped 3.5 billion people from getting their hands on one. Apparently, that's a record for like most consoles sold in a certain amount of time. First 4 days, fucking insane. So this is obviously a global phenomenon. And Carlos, I think you said this too. It's like because Nintendo plans to sell 15 million by like the end of the fiscal year. So you think they might actually hit that number?
Yeah, I mean, 3.5 million is just a number, but when you compare it to on 4 days, excuse me, comparing that to the competition with, I think the PS4 and PS5 were mentioned. Some of those comparisons, it blows past by all those. So yeah, I mean, and shout out to Nintendo, the inventory is still there. They're not doing the artificial scarcity that they were doing in the previous iterations.
Nope.
So there are plenty of Switches in the wild, and even though they're selling out in a lot of places, occasionally, like, because I heard my Best Buy was sold out, and then like 3 days later it's like, oh, we got more stock. So it's like, at least they're not. There's
Carlos, I think it's you, bro.
Wait, I can hear it though.
Yeah, because Adam's thing wasn't glowing green. Ooh.
All right, this mystery will be solved before the end of this episode.
Look,
it wasn't me. I wasn't talking at the very end.
Yeah, keep going. Something's up,
all
man.
Right. So yeah. So the whole thing with the Switch, it's selling like crazy. Yeah, man. 15 million before the fiscal year. We still need to get to the holiday kick, which I'm pretty sure Switch 2 is going to sell like crazy during that time. Yeah, man. I told y'all, this people find a way to fall in love with Nintendo consoles. It seemed like this might have been the year where it skipped the generation, where like the Wii U days and and the GameCube, but no, this is back to back successes. We'll see. I gave my predictions of how much it'll sell lifetime, but man, now the chat is blaming me. All right, let's
first. Yeah, I think it might be you, bro. Fix your shit. All right, man. Go ahead, Chris. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm gonna disagree slightly because Nintendo also counts points of purchase like Best Buy, Target, Walmart. They have to order a certain amount of units from them, and they pay for them, right? So that counts in terms of net sales. So just because you sold 3.5 million in 4 days doesn't mean that they sold that they're in people's hands. They're in stores.
Yeah, they're in stores. Yeah,
they're in points of purchase and in some in people's hands, but they're not. That's not 3.5 million. People playing it.
Ooh,
right?
Good point. Yeah.
So I think that these sales are going to slow down. I don't see, maybe in holiday they'll have a bump, but in holiday they don't have any exclusive titles for Switch 2. At least they haven't announced any yet. I don't know why they wouldn't have. When I read the fiscal report, the the next big thing they're leaning on for the holidays, Pokemon, and that's a Switch One game. So you have the next exclusive they have launching is Donkey Kong next month, and then they have the enhanced Metroid Prime 4, but Metroid Prime 4 is also cross generation. So they don't have anything exclusive yet to pull people in, unless they're going to pull out a Mario or something out before the end of the year, or before the end of the fiscal year. I don't see them hitting 50 million, especially if the sales slow down.
Hey, I figured it out. I'm sorry to cut you off. It was Brett the whole time.
Fuck y'all, man. Fuck y'all. I'm out.
Yes, Can you beat yourself, dude? Whoa, you're roboting too right now.
This is the Scooby Doo end of the Scooby Doo
We
episode.
figured this out. Who pulled that motherfucking mask off?
And
I
you were
would've-
blaming me, and you were blaming
I know
me.
everybody got blamed. I even started questioning myself, Brett. Fuck, you know.
We're not even
Oh damn,
talking
Brett! Fuck, that was sounding crazy. You know, man, I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those motherfucking kids. yeah. We go ahead, talk.
Is it any better?
No, a lot worse.
No.
Yes, bad.
All right, man. Yeah, if you need to drop, yeah, there you go. All right, so it wasn't the Spix, it was the white guy. I was gonna play myself next, bro. Fuck, you know, like win. Go ahead, Brett. Oh damn! I don't know what's happening with that mic, bro. What mic are you using now? Because I know you have to be in a different position to talk. Uh-oh. Technical
How's
difficulties.
this?
Ooh.
Oh, that's way better.
Yeah.
Way better.
This is actually my just built-in laptop mic right now.
Okay, yeah, that's better. That's better.
Good.
You know, cool. Okay, we figured that one out. All right, Chris, continue.
Oh, all I'm gonna say is that you have to wait and see. Like Nintendo's putting out these numbers to generate hype, right?
Yeah.
Don't be fooled by net sales versus in users' hands and active users, right? So we'll see come holiday if points of purchase order way more. They're going to have to convince them to order way more, because then they can hit that 50 million number. They can convince Walmart and Target and GameStop and all these guys to order hundreds of thousands of units in each demo, then they'll hit that number. But in order for them to do that, they'd have to be selling out their inventory, like
The trick
consistently.
is, it's not even, and we've talked about it before. That's fine. Go ahead. They can tell Target, Walmart, and all of them to pull it in. But the way those stores make their money is from the game sales, right? Isn't it? Because they don't really make
Yeah, it's
much
software
of
sales,
money
right?
from
But you
all-
need
Yeah.
people
There's
to,
no
to
software.
purchase the system to do that. Yeah, and there's a lack of software. There's a lack of exclusive
Yeah.
software. People aren't going to buy, some except for Nintendo fans, they're not going to buy Switch 2 just to play Switch 1 games. There are plenty of guys doing that, but the majority of people who see that, it's like, well, if you don't care about Mario Kart, maybe you care about Donkey Kong, but then when's the next game? Probably 2026. So
Shoot, and then
you
my
have to
son
rush.
now he wants one, but he doesn't want it for Mario Kart. He just wants one because he does. You know, he's that
Yeah.
kid. He was like, oh, his YouTuber people that they play all those games. They're talking about it, and he's like, oh, I want to get it. All these cool games are coming out. What games now? I don't know, but something has to come out for it. You know, he's thinking my own gotta have something, but he's not
Gotta
excited
have
for
something.
Mario Kart. He's not excited for that. I was like,
Yeah.
he's like, well, it makes my other games look better. I was like, well, yeah, but you have to pay for that, and that's the other sucky part. That it's not like, oh yeah, go ahead, pop in the cart, and they'll do. No, you gotta pay for it. It's like, it's not good enough that you bought the damn thing.
Gotta buy something. But no, Chris, I'm really glad you bring that up. It's like, yeah, Nintendo has sold 3.5 million to stores and people. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I
I mean, they were ready to put out that news in 2 seconds. Imagine being able to count that you had that many sales in 4 days.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe in 72 hours they had that data. You don't have that data. You have the point of purchase data. You know how many orders that each point of purchase got for you, and you add that up. It's like, oh well, there we go. We got 3.5 million sales, because it's up to them to flip it, right? And then, like Adam said, make their money selling the software. Again, and then to his point, what software? You only got Mario Kart now.
That's
You got
it.
another game in July, and then you got another game maybe in 8 months, right? If you don't hit holiday, so it's I'll temper expectations. Everybody's getting hyped over that. I am not hyped over that because I know how this works.
You've seen it all before.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. There's that. Speaking about other cool, kind of interesting news. Stellar Blade is now on PC, and it's a fucking hit a year after it's released. It had a peak, and Brian, can you double check if this is still the peak? The peak here is 183,380 concurrent players, which is fucking insane. And obviously, since it is on PC, you know those mods are already rolling, and you know what type of mods they are. Oh man!
What are you talking about? I saw Thomas the Tank Engine. That's what.
Oh yeah,
was
there you go.
for,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, those kind of mods. Yeah. And then so apparently there's a lot of Chinese players playing this, so maybe that could account for the big number. But regardless, 183,000 gooners. I do want to talk about that because all these websites that were talking shit about Stellar Blade, they're big mad right now that the game is doing well. A certain person that I'm not going to name right now, he's very upset. But it's like, you called these people the quote unquote loud minority. Well, those loud minority are making this game a fucking hit. So you, sir, look like a fool. It's great, Chris. I know you've seen some of this stuff. You and I have been, sharing links. It's just been hilarious.
Oh yeah, and Assault is amazing because it's like you're doubling down on this bullshit that it's just like this minority of gooners and incels, and it's like, this game is the best selling Sony exclusive now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So it's nothing to do with that. You paint this fantasy and you start slamming people by it, and honestly, has that strategy worked?
No, it's always the opposite. So you know what? And, keep lambasting the gamers. You're just gonna keep buying this game and making you even more mad.
Yeah, people like the freedom. They like the gameplay, obviously.
Yeah.
She was like, they like the boss battles. I'm like, no, there's a couple other assets too that they like, but there's the thing too where even the head of Shift Up, he said he looks forward to seeing mods. He's not being a prude or anything. He's just like, hey, go nuts, do what you want. I look forward to seeing them. That kind of encouragement is great because people love that kind of freedom. They don't want bullshit with their games, and this game is giving you no bullshit, so they love it, right? And they support it.
Yeah. So again, it's Vice ridiculous fucking headline here. Stellar Blade PC launch breaks Steam sales records thanks to its thirsty fan base. Like, this is why your rag of a fucking site is going down, bro. Shit like that. Absolutely disgusting. So I hope the game keeps doing, better and better, just to make these people look like even bigger idiots.
I have a question.
Why is it?
Is there anything wrong if it's selling because people are thirsty?
Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong.
So
but they're painting it. They're painting it to seem like that's the only reason. Like, the graphics aren't cool, the gameplay isn't cool. Like, there's other factors here. Yeah, the girl's fucking hot, obviously, but the game is a good game.
Like, if you're trying to sell a game, you're trying to sell everything about the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you're in a marketplace where you're trying to sell as many copies as you can. There's different aspects of a video game that sells to people.
Yeah, but they're trying to make it seem like it's a bad thing, Carlos. That's what's up.
Yeah, well, they can play their games that no one plays.
Yeah. You're right about that. So my question is, who's going to be playing this on PC? I'm not including myself because I already have a PC code. So obviously I'm going to be playing it on PC. I've actually had the PC code for a while. I just haven't had a chance to play because I've been so busy with Switch coverage. But yeah, is anybody here going to be checking this out on PC?
I'll probably check it out just to see the mods.
Yeah, you know, for research,
Yeah.
for research.
Research, yeah. Thomas the Tank Engine. I told you, I love Thomas.
Oh, I'm waiting for the CJ mod.
Oh shit!
Because somehow him and Thomas the Tank Engine have just become gaming's icons. Like in every game, they're just there.
Yeah, Brian, what are your thoughts on Stellar Blade on PC, the success, and the Salt?
I'm surprised it's doing that well. Again, not that I was expecting it to do badly. Just I wasn't expecting it to break 100,000. So the fact that it's doing 183,000 concurrently, which is crazy good.
Yeah,
Especially in just the context of not even Dragon Age Origin, no, Dragon Age Veilguard could achieve that. Like, in what world would you expect a Dragon Age game to be beaten out by some random Korean game? That again, I think it's like the second game that they made.
Yeah, I believe so.
Like a mobile game.
Yeah, but this is their first AAA game. You know,
It's insane, and even like the numbers. So yeah, it is 183, and I was looking at the other Sony titles, and the highest that they had was Ghost of Tsushima at 77,000. So
yeah,
it's incredible. Like again, in what world would you expect like games like Ghost of Tsushima and God of War and it even beat Spider-Man on PC, which is ridiculous.
Wow.
So I'm like, yeah. So yeah, I'm again very happy. This means that they're going to consider it a success, and I'm certain that there's a sequel. If it's not been announced, then I'm certain that they'll have one. Whether or not they'll launch it at the same time on PC and consoles, another story, but that's neither here nor there. I'm interested to see if there'll ever be an Xbox release, which I think is funny. But yeah, it's good. Again, games selling well, especially from developers that are unknown and indie per se, is always good. So very happy on that front. The Salt is flying in. I think it was PC Games N. I seen the review, and the fact that they had the goal to say that this game falls flat. It's like this game is everything but flat.
yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, it's just we always knew that Salt would happen if the game doesn't do well.
Yeah,
Which is weird.
they're
You
just
know, like-
upset that the games that they like, people don't care for. You know.
It's going to keep on happening. Like again, as Brett pointed out a couple of years ago, you give the gamers what they want, and it sells.
Yeah,
It's that simple.
Imagine
But they
that.
don't want to give gamers what they want. They want to give you what they want you to have, right?
Mhm.
You have to absorb the message. You have to I don't know. There's a lot of things I want to say that I'm just gonna hold my tongue.
I know, man. I could talk some shit right now too, but we'll leave that
anyway.
alone. Yeah, but
Anyway,
again,
it's like the
they
game
want
comes
you
along-
to like. Yeah, they want you to like a certain type of game, pushing a certain type of message, as you said. And when people don't reject that, they call you an idiot because they're better than you. They're more educated than you. You know.
Yeah, whatever. I'll give my money to Celebrate. How's Concord doing? I want to ask them that.
Yeah, how's Concord doing? How's Dragon Age doing? How's Saints Row doing? How's Suicide Squad doing? You know? Oh, man. But yeah, good stuff. Congratulations to the team at Shift Up. Really good stuff. Unfortunately, not every game could be a success. Some games could be downright disasters. We got to talk about MindsEye, people. So the review started dropping, and this is a cyberpunk level shit show, and I'm not even exaggerating. Like, remember, Sony does it. It's very rare when they start refunding games, right? They did it with Cyberpunk. Guess what they're doing it with now with MindsEye, bro. This is crazy. So, Rich, what can you tell me about MindsEye? Did you get to play it while you were out there?
Well, this is a phenomenal question, Tony. Now, let me, and I can talk about this freely because this is the situation. Now, when I saw the, MindsEye, I believe it was last month, the beginning of last month, I decided to put a request in because I was skeptical about the game. I figured it might be garbage, or it might be okay, or it might be amazing, right? I didn't know, so I put in a request with the PR to say, hey, would you mind listing me down to review the game? Sure, we'll be sure to list you. They noted my request, okay? Now, when I went to Summer Game Fest, I did see these PR people in person, some of the same people, including the individual that did put me down to review the game. And I'm thinking to myself, I was watching how things were playing out because I heard there was a preview for the game and nothing but horrible things said about it in the preview session, okay? Which I thought was very interesting. But when they had this IO interactive showcase, they were still talking about the game. And I'm thinking to myself, this is on a Friday. The game is out on the following Tuesday. I'm like, where the hell are the review codes? Okay, that's what I thought. So fast forward to the game coming out on Tuesday. I did mention before, I was already set to receive a code, never received a code. And the funny thing is, I wrote an editorial about the 007 game because that's a game I'm actually interested in. And I sent that to the same PR. They love the article, but yet they seem to ignore and forget anything about MindsEye. And then I turn around and I see a lot of people I was talking to, they also never got a review code. And then I turn around and I see online, there are people posting, because there was a couple of people who stream on Twitch. They had sponsored deals where they were supposed to stream this game. There was one guy that came online saying, hey, they just shut down my stream before it can start. And that was a sponsored stream for the game. So I figured that, hey, they thought to themselves, we're not going to send this game to nobody because I heard that there were bugs with the game. Clearly it needed more development time. And I've seen some of those bugs online as well, some of the videos out there.
I think Rich, it's some Assassin's Creed Unity type of shit, bro. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. So I initially had made the comment the game should be called MindsEye instead of MindsEye. Now I think it needs to be upgraded to a game that nobody will remember. It's going to be gone in the blink of an eye because nobody, and I mean nobody, will be playing this game. I didn't know about the refunds thing until today. Yeah. And I saw that. I was like, that's not good. That's not good. But I do think it is hilarious that I have been talking with the PR about the other games. And let me be clear about one thing. IO Interactive did not develop this game. They are the partners, the publishing partner for the studio. Okay, so really it's not their responsibility to facilitate that request, but I want to make sure people know IO Interactive did not have anything to do with the development of this game. So the Hitman game and 007 are probably right, but clearly Build the Rocket, they know how to build a rocket because they have destroyed their company in the matter of just one game release that's coming out. And I am aware there's an Everywhere game that was supposed to be tied to this. That's the other part of this story. So yeah, but it's unfortunate because I actually was genuinely interested in the game just to try it out. I figured at best, this is probably going to be a mediocre game. I think it was going to be unplayable and have all those technical issues though. So I won't even bother playing it at all right now. But very interesting. However, I will say this. Carlos did volunteer his services to cover the game in the future. So, Carlos, we look forward to hearing your thoughts on this game on a future Throwdown episode.
That's funny. But yeah, this is crazy, man. My question is always like, you know the state of the game. Why are you putting it out? Like, if this isn't a game that people have been chomping at the bit for, fucking delay it and fix it, you know? But I don't know who ultimately decided to ship this thing out now, but, you know, they're now paying the price, literally and figuratively. And I think you might be right, Rich. This might be their last game. So we'll have to stay tuned for that.
Yeah. I did hear that last week there were 2 executives that also left the company. Uh-oh. And that's why I said, okay, so that's why when I kept hearing these stories when I was in LA, I'm like, man, I really hope they send me this game. I want to see why people are talking about this game as much as they are. But now I don't have to worry about it because I'm not going to spend my own money to play this. Absolutely not.
No.
If it's not working on PS5, all the issues, absolutely not. But hey, we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah. All right. By the way, Adam, Sketch says you look like a angry Jesus.
Bitches done fucked up.
All right, the last thing we're going to cover is Konami, 2 days after Summer Game Fest, or 3 days after Summer Game Fest, decided to have their own showcase. Like, okay. So let's run down the titles they talked about. I don't know if this, I didn't get to see it. I don't know if this is the order they showed the games in, so I'm just, going with what IGN posted. So we got Metal Gear Delta, obviously. And again, since I didn't see this, I'm just going to read what they said. Surprising no one, Solid Snake kicked off the show. The producer showed an extended teaser for Metal Gear Solid Remake and reminded us that the Snake versus Monkey minigame is on the way for PC and PS5 players with a Bomberman variant for Xbox consoles. Interesting. And the Secret Theater, of course, but I don't suppose that... What the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, even though boss fights should feel familiar, we can expect, AI and animation improvements. That's pretty cool. We also learned about the sneaking DLC pack, which includes costumes that are quote-unquote unique in appearance, with some boasting special effects. You'll also find weapons and uniforms in-game if you have it. Finally, we were introduced to Fox Hunt mode. It's a completely original online multiplayer mode that shares a world with Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. It's not just a reskin Metal Gear Online, however, expected to be its own new type of mode based on the series' trademark stealth and infiltration mechanics. Okay, so it's going to have a brand new online mode. That's kind of interesting. So, it's for you guys who like Metal Gear Online. There you go. By the way, fun fact, the Metal Gear Online portion of Metal Gear Solid 4 was the very first game I ever played online. So take that how you will. And that kind of shaped my experience. Like literally I get into like, oh shit, this is crazy. People are just running around killing each other. Then 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh, this is boring. People are just running around killing each other. And every online game has pretty much been that ever since. All right, next up we got a game called Darwin's Paradox. The fuck is this? I just read what they say. I don't suppose any of us were expecting to meet Darwin today, an octopus who was suddenly torn from his ocean. I think we've seen this game before. Some octopus game. I guess it's kind of like that Octodad. Who I don't give a fuck. All right, eFootball. What the fuck is this?
Pro Evolution Soccer.
Is that what they call it now?
They call it now, yeah, eFootball. It's not good.
Okay, so that's all we need to know. Adam, what about eBaseball? You know about that?
Shit, I don't know about that.
I think they're making shit up now.
That's y'all peoples, man. Fucking Dominicans love that baseball.
Not me. I don't care for baseball that much. I saw that shit 30 minutes of my life I can't get back. Oh, damn. The show was that bad, bro? Fuck. Yeah, okay. That's okay. Yu-Gi-Oh! Gives a fuck. Suikoden H1 and 2 HD remaster. Did these fucking games already come out? These remasters? The silence lets you know how interested the panel is in these fucking games. So, moving on. Another Suikoden game, Star Leap. I don't care. Gradius. I like Gradius. Gradius Origins. Fucking who wrote this? Some fucking millennial, probably. No, not. I gotta remember, Tony. You're ragging on Gen Z now, not millennials. This is what it says. Remember Gradius? It's okay. I don't either. Yeah, because you're probably 25 years old. You fucking cunt. Anyway, Gradius is the shit. I'll play that. That gets me excited. Some game called Deliver at All Costs. Don't care.
Oh, that apparently that's a good game. A lot of people like that one. I think that's it's either the biking one or the climbing one. It's something. Isn't that a Capcom?
No, it's Konami.
Konami. That's it, Konami. I knew
Yeah,
it was-
there's every game I'm talking
a
about
lot
right
of
now is
people
from
like that
Konami.
one.
Yeah.
A lot of people like that one.
Just says deliver at a cost is fun. All right, so there you go. Is this?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
People
wait,
like that
is the
one.
game already out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Why are they talking about it? I don't know. Eden Zero looks like some anime game. Based on the manga by Hiro Mashima. So if you know who that is, the author of Fairy Tale and Rave Master. I don't know what Rave Master is, but I do know Fairy Tale. Never watched it, but I have seen it. I did.
Rave Master, that's that guy that does it.
Rave Master.
You already
yeah,
know.
right.
It's the manga god.
I remember I went to this like press event for Fairy Tale, and at the end of it, they gave me a free iPad. So that was kind of cool. It was for some fucking mobile game. This was years ago. It was at Golan Harris, actually, Rich, which you probably find interesting, at their office in New York. All right, I don't care about that. Survival Kids, don't care. Silent Hill F, they showed that at the Summer Game Fest, so I guess they showed more of it. So, you know, if you're into Silent Hill, there you go. What's interesting about this game is apparently the first game in the franchise that's set in Japan. So that's kind of interesting, but I'm a Resident Evil guy, bro, so I don't really fuck with Silent Hill like that. But, you know, I'm glad people are getting it, so that's good. Silent Hill remake, the remake of the first game, because, you know, the second game did very, very well, so, you know, makes sense. You know, they want the money, you know. So there you go. And I think that's it. That's the whole show. Yeah, kind of a snooze fest, to be honest. Like, even the only game I'd be interested in, Metal Gear, I've already seen so much of that already. Like, I'm good. Did anybody on the panel watch this thing? I'm guessing not. Yeah, the crickets tell me that. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I didn't
I
get a
did.
chance.
I didn't want.
Yeah. I think Manny probably watched it 3 times, you know. Yeah, there you go. Chris, what do you think about Silent Hill remaking the first game? Any thoughts on that?
I think it's good because I don't think the reimagining was well received. The Shattered Memories.
Yeah.
If you remember that game.
That's what they mentioned here too, yeah.
That was Silent Hill 1 just reimagined.
Uh-oh.
Right? They changed up a lot of stuff. There's this whole like instead of the world getting like rusty and decrepit, you know, when the horns sound, it got frozen. It was weird. It's like they didn't like the imagery. They changed it to this like the world gets frozen over, and you know, it's still Harry Mason looking for his daughter, but the mechanics are completely different.
Oh,
There's
man.
chase mechanics and all this stuff. I don't think it was well received. I think this is a great idea to go back to this. I wonder if they will also include something to explain how Silent Hill is not just isolated to the town. It's like you have Silent Hill F, you had all the short games, like the short message and the other stuff, saying it's a phenomenon that can happen anywhere. So I wonder if they're going to retcon that into the first game and kind of explain that.
Yeah.
They have an opportunity to do so they might do it.
That'd be interesting. Sketch says they sleeping on the panel through Konami. Yeah, if Manny was here, there'd be more enthusiasm because he's a big Konami game. But, you know, the rest of us, whatever, you know. But we got to report the news. You could not Sketch says you could not fight back either. You had to hide, and most of the game was about Harry talking to a shrink, and that is what set up the game encounters. Okay.
Oh yeah, in Shattered Memories, yeah.
Okay.
It's you know, there was this whole like he had a phone mechanic and he took pictures and then you had to run. Like you couldn't fight. So no board with a nail, no pipe, all that stuff that you rely on. It was just like run. That's the chase mechanic I was talking about. You have to run all the time. Yeah.
He said it sucked dick. But yeah, so there you go. And that's gonna do it for us, man. Another good show. Let's plug some stuff. Adam, what you got going on, man?
Over at the TV terminal, we just posted Revival, season 1, episode 1. Don't Tell Dad. This is Revival, based off of the Image comic series. So they now have a TV show. It's on Sci-Fi. and it sounds like every week at the end of the week it'll pop up on Peacock. So if you don't have Sci-Fi because you cut cable or you don't have it on, I think it's part of YouTube TV and a few other those type of thing services. But if you don't, if you just want to wait, it'll pop up on Peacock. But we have our first review of that. That's over at the channel. Also, that'll be on the Coalition at some point. Then also we have Murderbot that's coming out later tonight, which will be for episode 6 of that. So those are the two, Revival and Murderbot, over at the TV terminal. You can find that on YouTube. And that's it. That's what we're doing. We got those two, and we got a few more other things coming, and then plan on doing some other stuff with the games. You know, as Rich talked about that, we got this Gears of War beta that's coming up, but it looks like it's broken up. It's just multiplayer.
Yeah,
you know, two of them. I'm still on the fence with this because we had the Ultimate Edition. It's like I can understand if we didn't have that. Then I was like, oh wow. I was like, how much more can you do when that was considered the ultimate? You know what I mean? That was the ultimate. This is Reloaded.
Yeah, but it's on PlayStation. That's the big deal here, man.
But then just should have put the ultimate on there. Just be like, hey, guess what? Now you get to be ultimate. You know, you got the juice now. You know, that type of deal. Reloaded. You know, come on now. Reloaded, that sounds lesser. That's like, unless you throw something else, and that's what I want to see. I want to see if they added anything that's not in the ultimate. And one big ultimate feature of that was that they added that one mission that was exclusive to PC. Because a lot of people don't remember that. Gears of War did launch at PC. And when it did, it had one mission that was just dedicated to the PC version. Never came to console. You know, not until the Ultimate Edition came out. So, we'll see. We'll be playing that. That launches tomorrow.
So are you getting the free copy?
Free copy.
Of Gears Reloaded?
No, it's a beta. It's just a beta out. And then
well, didn't they say
free because it's going to be on Game Pass. So
oh, because I don't know, maybe I dreamt this shit, but apparently I heard that people who got Ultimate got Reloaded for free.
Oh, there's controversy about that. If you had the digital version.
Yeah.
Because I have the physical version, so I'm not of like what's it I can't get in on that. But if it was digital, then you can get in on it. Eligible, so we're looking for.
Man.
Yeah.
I do have that.
Yeah, people are pissed, bro. I've been seeing a timeline. They're mad as fuck. Yeah.
Yep. But I don't know how they can verify it. You know how it's not like the discs are tied to the console.
Yeah, you can't do it. It's got to be digital.
So, but So then, in that case, yes, I do. I guess I get it free because I did purchase that game.
Digitally?
Yeah, digital.
All right, so there you go. You should be good then.
I have another question.
Real
quick. Mm-hmm. So you can get into the beta if you pre-ordered it, right?
I guess. I don't know.
It's not an open beta?
I don't think it's an open beta. I know you got some codes that came in the email, you know, but I don't know. It was it's only for 2 days, or at least 2 different sets, not 2 days, 2 weeks. One starts for this weekend, and then it looks like they shut it off, and then it kicks in again next weekend. Right?
Yeah,
that's it.
I was curious if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you can just get the beta, but I'm guessing not.
Yeah, I don't think so, or else they wouldn't bother sending any codes. Because they'll be like, yo, just log into the shit and play it. Stop being lazy. It's like, oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, Sketch says, don't forget, end of June, title update number 2, Monster Hunter. Oh, yeah, listen, any new stuff, I'm back in there, so thanks for the heads up on that. End of June, we still got a couple of weeks, so should be good. Unlike some of the folks that, basically, the Gears of War Twitter put out a message thanking people for participating in the beta, and half of the comments were like, y'all had a beta? Like motherfuckers didn't know. Hilarious. 2 new monsters. Let's go, son. Carlos, you already know. Chris, you already know. We got to get in there. Yeah, all right. Rich, what's going on with the Coalition this weekend?
Yeah, so this weekend on the Coalition, I will be continuing to post up a couple of more previews, and of course, there's a couple of things coming next week. Like I mentioned earlier, I have about 4 previews on the site now. Wu Chang, Directive 8020, FPC Firebreak, and Resident Evil Requiem. There's going to be a ton of things coming. I mean, I have a lot of content planned well through the rest of this month and going into July. So if you are a gaming fan, I would highly encourage you to check out the website. There will be some reviews and previews next week. And then, of course, there's another review I'm working on that is a game I think people are going to be interested in. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. But, yeah, now is by far a great time to be a gamer. So look for some good content coming.
All right, good stuff. All right, man, let's get out of here. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Join the Discord. And follow us on your favorite podcast app. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. And tonight, I was joined by Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Adam Vale.
A good weekend, everybody.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
And Brian Manjoma.
I'm surprised that we didn't talk about the layoffs at Bend Studio.
Oh, maybe somebody wants to ask us a question about that for the Sunday show.
And
yeah, what's up?
And that's where my joke came in of Dev's Gone.
Yeah, Dev's Gone. Fucking crazy.
Sequel to Days Gone.
Ben's studio never gets it
come
easy.
on.
All right, guys. If we're not in the middle of World War III, we'll see you on Sunday. Later.